Mega Man is one of my favorite video game franchises of all time. Ever. I may not have loved every direction the franchise had gone in over the years, but the core formula has always been a winner. Fight each boss in any order you want, kill them, take their weapon, and then use that weapon to kill everything else you come in contact with. It's a winning strategy. But what makes a really great boss weapon? Well, for this list, it's a mix of how fun it is to use, how powerful it makes you feel while using it, and some other quirks that made them stand out from the rest. Today, we're going to look at 10 of our favorite boss weapons from the original Mega Man series. Maybe next time, X. I'm Tim from Haruokay, and these are our top 10 Mega Man boss weapons. Number 10. Magnet Missile. Magnet Man, Mega Man 3. You've all been there. You're firing at an airborne or ceiling-based enemy, and your regular shot just keeps hitting air, reminding you with each shot just how useless your normal weapon can sometimes be. And then you get Magnet Man's weapon. Magnet Missile represents the first time in a Mega Man game that we got an actual homing shot. You would fire a giant magnet straight across the screen, and once it gets under or above an enemy, it suddenly darts in an L-shaped pattern, locking directly onto the nearest enemy, often killing them in just one hit. This was especially useful in Mega Man 3, where some of the platform design made hitting an enemy with a straight shot infuriatingly difficult to pull off. Now this entry comes in low because while I do love this weapon, it does have a few drawbacks. For one, it consumes weapon energy faster than most weapons. It won't take much use before you find that your weapons bar is completely drained. It can also be a bit difficult to hit flying enemies that are constantly moving, as magnets only change direction once. But on the plus side, the weapon absolutely destroys Hardman. And that guy is a serious pain in the ass to beat with a buster. So, there's that. Number 9. Junk Shield. Junkman, Mega Man 7. I originally wanted to have Slash Blade on this list, but going back to Mega Man 7 made me remember just how freaking powerful Junk Shield made me feel when I was using it. Obtained after defeating Junkman, Junk Shield does what weapons like Leaf Shield, Skull Barrier, and Star Shield did, but somehow it just felt like a weapon that was capable of absorbing more damage than any of those other weapons could. Or at least it felt that way. You see, Mega Man 7 is the only 16-bit title in the original 10 main entry games, so I can only base this weapon from its 8-bit counterparts in that one PlayStation entry. But everything about this weapon, down from the startup animation all the way to how you can visually see the damage that's being taken to your shield, makes Junk Shield my favorite shield weapon in all of Mega Man. And of course, like any good shield weapon, you have the ability to fire its parts outwards as individual projectiles that fire in every direction. Not bad for a weapon made of trash. Not bad at all. Number 8. Gravity Hold. Gravity Man, Mega Man 5. Since the first time using it, Gravity Man's Gravity Hold has been my favorite weapon in Mega Man 5. The actual stage in boss fight where you get the weapon is tremendously fun on its own and featured some of the most inventive level design in the series to date. Even the boss fight with Gravity Man is still easy enough to start the game with, while still having a bit of a challenge to it. And that's when the game rewards you with Gravity Hold. A screen-clearing boss weapon that reverses gravity for everybody else but you. It sends enemies flying right through the top of the screen, presumably to their deaths. Like, to be honest, I seriously hope that robots don't, actually feel fear, because as far as ways to go are concerned, that looks fucking terrifying. Now, I'll admit this weapon isn't flawless. It normally doesn't move a lot of the larger enemies in the game, and it does eat up a lot of your weapon energy. But instead of focusing on a high weapon cost or the pants-shitting terror of being lost to the vacuum of space, just do the same thing in your head that I always do. That will never get old. Number 7. Thunderbeam, Mega Man 1. Okay, I have a deep appreciation for the original Mega Man. Terrible box art and all. That said, I wasn't as crazy about the original 6 boss weapons. Or 8 if you count Powered Up, at least compared to the later entries in the series. But Thunderbeam has always been a standout for me. After you defeat Electman, you'll be rewarded with its 3-directional Thunderbeam, which makes short work of most regular enemies and can even wipe out those more annoying wall-climbing robots too. It was just a quick weapon that you could get out that could cover a lot of ground and do a lot of damage at the same time. But more importantly, this weapon is your absolute best chance against the Yellow Devil. Well, that and the use of a pause trick. But you know what? Doesn't matter. Because fuck the Yellow Devil. Number 6. Astro Crush. Astro Man, Mega Man 8. I'm a really big fan of screen-clearing weapons, and no screen-clearing boss weapon looked more devastating than Astro Crush from Mega Man 8. Once you obtain it from Astro Man, Astro Crush works more like an ultimate weapon than a regular boss weapon. All you have to do is hit that special weapon button once, and giant goddamn meteors will start falling from the sky. This attack is simply devastating. The only, and I mean the only downside to this weapon is that it gives you only 4 shots before depleting all of your weapon energy. So it'll likely be a short time before you need to reload, but for that short time, you feel like a fucking robot god, smiting enemies from above and leaving nothing but ruin and power-ups in your wake. Not bad for a weapon that comes from a boss that's a few balls stacked on top of each other and flat out admits to hiding from you before the battle even starts.
Oh, how did you find me? I feel so embarrassed.
Of course, Astro Man is also kind of the last enemy in the boss weakness chain for Mega Man 8, so maybe I shouldn't be talking shit. Number 5. Pharaoh Shot. Pharaoh Man, Mega Man 4. Obtaining Pharaoh Shot gives you both a regular shot and a charge shot, and that charge shot wrecks some serious shit. You can fire it in any direction and it will obliterate nearly anything unfortunate enough to be caught in its trajectory. You obtain the weapon from Pharaoh Man, who might be one of my favorite all-time classic robot masters. The design of this guy just always felt more akin to a final boss than one of the normal 8. He's no pushover either. Pharaoh Man himself will mostly just keep jumping all over for the fight, looking evil, and tossing energy shots at you like the bad guy in an episode of Dragon Ball Z. Which is appropriate since he'll stop on occasion to unleash a charge shot, which, when you get it for yourself, kind of looks like Frieza's Ball of Death. So essentially, this weapon is making the list because it makes me feel like a Dragon Ball villain. I originally thought that the appeal of a charge weapon in this game would be diminished considering this is the game that introduced the Mega Buster, but no. Number 4. Hornet Chaser. Hornet Man, Mega Man 9. You shoot hornets. Robot hornets. Oh, this needs more of an elaboration? Okay. While Hornet Man's weapon may not be the first homing weapon in the classic Mega Man games, for my money, Hornet Man's Hornet Chaser is definitely the finest. You can fire up to 3 hornets at once, who will automatically lock on to the nearest enemy and take them out. Forget pesky nuisances like walls or platforms. When you get Hornet Chaser, none of that shit matters anymore. You can launch an attack from just about anywhere on the screen once you get this weapon. Still need more? Sure. Not only does this weapon lock on and kill enemies, they also automatically pick up any power-up they drop and bring them directly back to you. And that includes weapon energy, which means you're likely to get more mileage out of this weapon than the other boss weapons that you'll find in Mega Man 9. It's the closest thing you'll find to a self-sustaining boss weapon in Mega Man. It's amazing. I still feel like we could have just went with shoot robot hornets here and been done with it, but now that we're clear on all that. Number 3. Triple Blade. Blade Man, Mega Man 10. The most recent proper entry in the original Mega Man series, Mega Man 10 had a very different feel in its boss weapons compared to the other games. Or at least most of them did. A lot of the boss weapons in Mega Man 10 felt more like a trap than they did an actual normal weapon. Weapons like Thunderwool, Chill Spike, and Commando Bomb all relied on a second effect to activate before they could actually do any real damage. They required strategy, but not Triple Blade. Triple Blade is a devastating alternative to your regular Buster weapon. It fires 3 shots to fire out in a triangular arc across the screen. One blade making contact is enough to kill most small enemies, but if you can get up close with this bad boy and hit an enemy with all 3 blades at once, you're more than likely going to annihilate it on the spot. What's better is that you can make this the first weapon you get in the game if you can figure out Blade Man's attack pattern, which isn't that hard. And considering how challenging Mega Man 10 is, getting a weapon right off the start with the kind of power that the Triple Blade has really helps take the pressure off. Number 2. Black Hole Bomb. Galaxy Man. Mega Man 9. Galaxy Man's Black Hole Bomb might just be one of the most powerful weapons to ever show up in a Mega Man game. You fire a slow, seemingly harmless purple shot that crawls along for a second before, BAM! A void that sucks in all energy and matter. Or at least that's what Google tells me, since I was never that big of a science student. But either way, it's fucking crazy how powerful this thing is. Black Hole Bomb was the first weapon I got in Mega Man 10. Easy boss fight. And outside of the much larger enemies and mid-bosses, I could never find much that the Black Hole Bomb couldn't wipe out of existence with a single attack. And despite all of that power, it has a level of finesse to it. In addition to the weapon being one that you can remotely detonate with the second press of the attack button, you could even change its trajectory mid-shot to impressive degrees. These things combined made the Black Hole Bomb a weapon that made you feel like a sneaky, tricky, overpowered bastard every time you used it. And I absolutely love it for that. Number 1. It's Metal Blade. It's fucking Metal Blade. I know. If you clicked on this video with a pre-existing love of Mega Man, you probably already knew this was coming. And nobody can blame you for that. Look, I just can't think of a single other classic boss weapon that doubles as its own easy mode. So in the interest of not being a contrarian asshole about this, I'm just gonna go with the obvious choice. Metal Blade is the quintessential Mega Man boss weapon that makes the rest of the game considerably easier for having, even compared to other Mega Man games. It fires in any direction, it's powerful against most enemies, including the boss that you get it from, and it uses very little weapon energy compared to any of the other boss weapons on this list. It's just a few invulnerable enemies away from breaking the entire game. There have been a few weapons that came close to capturing that magic, like Shadow Blade from Mega Man 3 or even Pharaoh Shot from Mega Man 4, but none could recapture the magic and the feeling of power you got from Metal Man's signature weapon. And that's why Metal Blade is our, admittedly obvious, number 1 Mega Man boss weapon.